We're underway, period number 2. Lovely to have you with us wherever you call home. And Shimizu with an early chance for Japan in the second period. As we wait to see who gets the first goal. Gio might get it. Brilliant block. Fantastic defensive play. Well, Tero, we've got 2 big chances to unpack in the first 15 seconds.
Yeah, they want to start it with really strong start to maybe score that first goal because it's been so tight. And here's a great block from Tajima Nonoka. Down on her knee and close to the shooter, so blocking that really well, helping Sato Ami out in defense.
And a marginal one, Tero, because when a player is going to ground, they have to be very careful that they don't actually play the ball in a prone position.
Exactly, so you can, one knee can be on the ground, 2 knees if you touch the ball. That will be penalized, or if you're touching or leaning on your other hand, so 2 points touching at the same time, 1 hand, 1 knee. So then it gets problematic. But very indicative if you look at the shots and saves from the first period. So only 3 saves for Australia and 2 for Japan. So we were talking about tight defense. Those numbers are proof of that.
They are very excitable and passionate fans, the Australians, but they're very quite nervous at the moment because this is such a tense game. There's some very still people in the crowd who daren't move, as though they might accidentally knock the ball into the back of the net by a change of position. Hodges tries to change Australia's position. Sato read it a million miles away, but Hodges is one of the very best at those long-distance efforts.
Absolutely, she is. She scored plenty of goals like that.
She goes through, it's Blaise Hodges, and then tried to feed Vendela Casal. Wondered if Hodges might take it herself.
Yeah, I would have thought to take it herself, but then she, again, very cleverly, because she forced Sato Ami's sideways movement and commit to her, and she saw in the corner of her eye that Casal was crashing the net, so a clever play there, but also, again, good defending from Japan.
Tajima Nonoka. Ball just goes straight into the stick of Margetts. You talked about your own floorball career at Masters level as a senior player. Well, Caroline Margetts is going to represent the Australian national team at the Masters World Cup of field hockey next year.
Oh, really? That's great. Master sports seems to be a bigger and bigger trend. The new executive director of the Finnish Federation, who just recently took his position a couple of months ago, has won in the swimming discipline in the Masters.
That's low. That's not put in by Craig. She was really close to that elusive goal. Laidler. What a special moment for her. Her debut championships, playing with her sister, who specially came out of retirement in order to play with her in the team. And Sarah Laidler, and I've mentioned it throughout these championships, and do you know what, I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's one of my favourite stories of these championships. 9 years ago, she had an absolutely appalling knee injury that led to 4 surgeries. She took such a break from the sport. She came back 3 years ago. She's won back-to-back league titles since coming back in the Perth Floorball League. She's dreamt of this moment to play alongside her sister in the national team. Can you even begin to imagine the number of opportunities she had to decide it wasn't worth it?
No, I can't. And it's been relentless work, rehab, of course, 4 knee surgeries, and that's real dedication to come back. And also proof of the love for this sport.
Vandenberg passes it to Dr. Ruby Wright, whose love for floorball is matched by her love of astrophysics and the extraordinary work that she does with supercomputers to understand the formation of galaxies.
Now, once again, sorry to interrupt, but the defensive work here. Vendela Casal tried to diagonally move into the dangering scoring opportunity, but there was just no room. Iwasaki, Andre just, you know, kept on pushing like a thistle on the clothes. But still, there's just no room to operate.
These are two teams playing with real discipline in this match.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the playoff matches are delightfully chaotic. They're all over the place. This one has got a real sense of shape to it.
Absolutely, yeah. We've discussed that several times, and it's just who has the nerves and look and search for that one small mistake. And here was that good, clever play from Hodges, as she was also forced to a bad angle and to the backhand, and she tried to find Kazal, who would have had been the forehand shot.
We won't be saying goodbye to Blaise Hodges just yet, by the way, because she will be joining me, making her debut in the WFC commentary position for the next match that's taking place in this very arena.
That's lovely to hear firsthand what she feels like after that final match. Hope she's not too full of emotions, that she can deliver some good commentary.
We're going to get a very exciting Netherlands-Estonia game to come, and all of you Australian fans watching this one, stay tuned to enjoy the work of Blaise Hodges as we enjoy the first goal of this match. Abe, beautifully finished, 1-0 to Japan. There it was, the breakthrough, and a very fine goal into the top corner. A 9th of the WFC over 2 editions.
And this is really just personal skill. Here a stick fake to lose Ruby Wright, and then she has walks down Main Street and just chooses the spot and really delivers it nicely in the top corner. Shannon Barnes has her hands low, so she sees room, she spots the room. That's what good goalies do. They have their head up and look at the net, not the goalie.
Abe with the opener. So then, the first goal goes the way of the Japanese. What response will we get from the green and gold? Marquez. Austin. Shimoyama. One of the advantages that the Japanese players have is that they are, by and large, based in and around the Tokyo area. An absolute megalopolis, Tokyo, the largest accumulation of people anywhere in the world, the greater Tokyo area. So, not that it is necessarily a 5-minute stroll from house to house, but they'll be able to get the national team players together and to work with them. Public transport network in and around Tokyo is one of the finest in the world. The Australian national team has a real job, doesn't it, just to get the players together and to actually work with them on a regular basis.
Absolutely, that's a big challenge, and we have the similar challenges for USA and some other teams, so of course they have a big advantage of training together. The Dutch team, when we talk to their team management, they've trained together for 4 years already, only on a monthly basis, but still. So a huge advantage to be able to train as a team, as a unit.
And my word, can you see it with the Dutch that they've trained together for 4 years?
Definitely. It will be a very exciting game for the Dutch today.
Tajima controls that nicely. Shimizu bringing it out. Great movement of the ball from the Japanese. Abe nearly striking it, almost went to Matoki on the unintentional pass.
Yeah, the question at what the Australians should do now, and maybe the ball movement would be a key. quicker ball movement. They're trying to transport the ball a lot on their blade, so rather give those quick passes and moving into the empty spaces than trying to move with the ball, which is easier to defend. Like this.
Elliott. Clever. Trying to find Hodges in front of goal. Good vision from Lexi Elliott. Should be Wright's ball, and it is. Plays it to Elliott. It's a really interesting game.
It is, it is. The Japanese super tight in their 2-2-1 defensive formation, so two players deep in their defensive zone, two players maybe 5-7 meters from them, and then 1 point. So the formation has been really tight, and they move with the ball. When it goes to one side of the field, they move as a unit to defend that side of the field. And we were talking about cutting that field in half, the mid-length line, so very good defending.
Margette's being pressurised by Sasaki Amane. It nearly created the chance for the Australians to get that equalising goal, as we are very close to the halfway stage of this, the 13th place playoff. Fjordstein. She's a very interesting player to keep our eyes on over the next several years. Morgan Fjordstein. Sophisticated understanding of the game, good stick work. On the top of good stick work, Iwasaki keeps going, still going, and two of them get back to cover. That was a real effort to track down Iwasaki Henry.
And this attack came from the Australians. They have been pushing a bit more on the forecheck, and they had 4 players caught in their offensive zone, and the Japanese with one pass could outplay many Australian players, but they did good work of coming back and defending.
She's almost come a little out of nowhere, Iwasaki Henry. First ever involvement with the national team here in Czechia. Never played for the under-19s. Laidler! Shimizu. Laidler's there well. Into the second half of this match. Van Uden, exercise physiologist by trade. Laidler trying to aggressively pursue that ball. Cray couldn't get near Tajima, who just brings it forward well. They've got some very rapid players, the Japanese team.
They have, so that's of course an asset both in defense and offense, but again we saw the attack of the Australians. They were kind of forced to go with the ball, and then it's easy to defend in the corner again, so make the ball work.
Nicely blocked by Barnes, who was positioned well. Shanahan involved, wearing 37, already a scorer of 3 at these championships.
There's been very little stoppage in this period, and now we actually are already in the 11th minute, and the power break will be up next, but there's no stoppage. The game keeps flowing, and it will be a very late power break.
Hodges shows good control and good physical strength.
And here again, she was traveling with the ball so long that 2 Japanese could trap her by the ring, so that's the problem at the moment. They need to make the ball work for them more.
We're at the power break with Japan marginally in control. Australia with dangerous moments, but the Japanese may be just starting to stretch things physically. Let's see what happens as we move into the second half of this game. They've got a lovely sense of team spirit, the Japanese. They play with enjoyment, with optimism. One feels it's a team that really supports itself, where they look after each other, where they don't blame, where they win together and lose together. Just an overall positive energy.
And it's been a tiring tournament. Must be very tired bodies and legs, but it was so fun to see during the power break. The teams, they were still smiling at each other and joking, and even if they're one down, the Australians as well, having fun. Well-positioned Carmenteo there in that situation when they're battling along the rink, and very good view of what's happening, and verbally also instructing the players to play on, no whistle.
Carmenteo was very well positioned at the start of the growth of floorball in Singapore, one of the real pioneers of the sport. Started playing it 25 years ago, began refereeing the following year, and has been working with Lim Bin Bin for well over a decade now. And they really love their partnership as referees. Carmen describes it as a beautiful partnership. They get on very well together, don't they?
Yeah, they're always smiley and laughing, and they're very... And there's a good display of fair floorball again. In the previous situation, the Australians had ball possession, but Margaret stepped on it and flattened the ball. So in the face-off, the Japanese gave the ball back to Australia.
Loose ball, well gathered by Sato. I just want to say one final thing about Carmen as a referee, because she's articulated something quite fantastically about what it is to be a referee, as Iwasaki brings this forward but is stalled. She said that being a referee is learning to be a leader, not a policeman on court. Isn't that a fantastic articulation of the referee's role?
Absolutely, yeah. Nice interception here again. Great stick defense by Kawada Yua. Must be such a strange game for the goalies as well, because basically there's action all the time and they need to be alert, but they're not getting the saves. Just a few saves in the first period, now one maybe each. So a very strange game for the goalies, I imagine.
Australia's chances have generally been ones with not a hugely high percentage likelihood of scoring. A few long efforts here and there, some quite comfortable saves for the goalkeeper. And there is a school of thought, isn't there, Tero, that that's when goalkeepers are at their most vulnerable, when they haven't done a great deal.
Yeah, even as a goalie, you want to have a feel of the ball, make the saves, be part of the game. It's just like if a team has much ball possession, so it's not much fun of defending and not having the ball than playing with the ball, isn't it? The same applies for the goalies as well.
It's going to be a delayed penalty. This is Japan's real chance now to work the ball around, to create a goal-scoring opportunity, to use up some time, and then to patiently craft their power play. That is the end of the delay. And there we go. Japan with the first big opportunity. It's Blaise Hodges who has been sent to the sidelines. This is the reason. Fairly clear contact.
Absolutely.
Stick on stick.
Yes, that's correct. Just missed the indication of the referee if it was holding the stick or a hit on the stick, but I think that you could make a pick, unfortunately.
There is 81, Karolina Kamberski. Moved to Czechia in April for one season. Otherwise, she's lived in Sydney her whole life, but she speaks the Czech language and has family here. And she has such an interesting route into the sport, Karolina Kamberski, who we just saw warming up. She had never played field hockey. She's one of the few in the Australian team without a background in the sport. She just chatted to a stranger while she was doing a part-time job. Just a random person came up and had a chat with her, and the conversation turned to floorballs.
Strange turns life sometimes takes. And the app confirms the match game facts that it was actually a hit, the reason for Blaise Hodges' penalty.
Shimizu.
The Japanese pushing the Aussies in a very, very tight box in front of their own goal.
Goto to Shimizu. Oh, Australia have a player down. It's Laidler, I think.
So it might have been an unintentional elbow, if I saw that correctly. Is she holding her leg? No, she was holding the coaching staff's leg there, just trying to support herself.
Well,
sister to the rescue.
Yeah, that's a lovely display of the bond that those two have. Obviously the first to come over to help get her off the field of play is her sister, Jess Vanderberg.
Yeah, she spurted on the field of play when she saw her in distress getting up.
We hope all is well with Sarah Laidler, as Japan seek still to make something happen with 3/4 of a minute to go in the power play. And once again, Tero, the spirit of fair floorball well represented.
Nice traffic and movement from the Japanese in the middle and creating all kinds of trouble for the Australian defense. There's Tajima Nonoka in the middle there.
Oh, Abe picks it up in front of goal. Brilliantly done from Barnes. Had to scramble for that ball and recovered it nicely. Hodges standing, waiting to get back on to the court. The power play is coming to its conclusion, and she's back on. Well, that was a job well done from Australia.
Absolutely. The Japanese had a good power play, but didn't create any real dangerous chances apart from their own small bad pass behind the goal. So Australians.
Margetts, who I remind you is stepping away from the sport after these championships, but will continue to be a hugely important member of Australian society and society of whichever country she's living in, because she's currently based in Switzerland, because she's been a paramedic for 20 years. We remind ourselves as these Australian players step away from the game, as Japan nearly step into a 2-goal lead, that the motto of these championships, no power like women power, goes off the court as well and extends to a message about society as a whole. And we look at the great work that so many of these athletes are doing away from floorball, the contributions they make to the world. That is every bit as inspiring as what they do as elite athletes.
Exactly, and it's not just something that will happen in these championships. The Czech Federation will carry on actually with the logo, the women's power. They're taking the championship logo, just a different color, and taking it further with the women power concept. Actually, tomorrow there's going to be conference around the topic of encouraging women in sports and in general. So it's a very noble thing what they're doing here. And of course very much aligned with the IFF values.
Tipped behind from Sato Ami. 1 minute almost remaining.
There's still quite of a question mark this whole game. Which way will this go?
It's about as clear as mud, frankly. And we're going to be in for an enthralling final period. Australia will need to chase the game, but they won't be too concerned now. One imagines that pretty much any team in one of these placement round matches, if you said to them, you can go into the third period 1 goal behind, they'd be perfectly content with that.
Yeah, 1 goal in floorball is a thin margin. Goals are being scored very quickly in this sport, so the thinnest of margins.
Shimizu, and the easiest of rebound gathers for Barnes, who throws quickly to Hodges. One last chance to come for Australia if Hodges can shoot, but she's been well defended.